Brother Akbar McEntyre. Welcome, brother. We'll be talking tonight about dawah through human services, inshallah. Before we get started, just one quick announcement. So this Sunday, inshallah, we have our community hub event. It will be an event for the family. It's going to be this Sunday, inshallah, from 2:30 to 4:30. There will be a lot of different activities and games for the kids. So I encourage everyone to bring their family. Again, it will be this Sunday from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. Inshallah. So with that, we can get started with tonight's topic. So before we talk about the topic, just wanted to just give a quick introduction for Brother Akbar. So Brother Akbar is the founder of Humble Beginnings, which is a non-profit organization that provides different social services to the community, such as including substance abuse, mental health, job development, and family counseling. And then the Humble Beginnings also provides weekly meals to the community. So alhamdulillah, Brother Akbar has his master's in social work from Seton Hall University, and he's been serving the Patterson community for several years. So Brother Akbar, welcome.
Welcome, brother. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah to everyone here. I want to accept this warm welcome from Sheikh Osama and brother and you yourself, brother Naya. And so I'm happy to be here to discuss this topic of dawah through human service. This is a beautiful thing because the times that we're living in some extremely tough times. And living in a time where the human value of people from all walks of life are being depreciated. People are in these various challenging situations, and as Muslims, right, we are commanded to invite people into our way. We are commanded to invite people into our way because we was taught that we have the best way. Our way is the best way. And we were selected and elected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be the best of all people that has been enjoined for all mankind, because we enjoin what is good and forbid what is evil. And merely because we believe in Allah in the accurate, most correct manner. And so inviting people to this way in this contemporary times that we living in is very, very challenging, because we living in a time where instant gratification pervades the life of all the people. Most of the people lives are pervaded by instant gratification. How soon can I be satisfied in one form or another? And they really ain't got no time to hear anything about no religion. I don't want to hear nothing about no religion. I gotta go to work. I don't want to hear nothing about God, because if it was such a God, my life wouldn't be in this turmoil. You got people that have these ideas and views and perspectives about our faith and faith in general. So when you start talking about inviting them, inviting people into our way, one of the things that I've learned in most cases is that we have to be well aware of the darkness that hovers over the people's lives. And this is one of the reasons why the Prophet ﷺ was uniquely qualified to be the messenger of Allah in the dark, savage part of Arabia, because he was uniquely qualified because he had a well-rounded understanding of what it was like to be an orphan, what it was like to be poor, what it was like to be in disbelief, had that. He understood the language of his people. He understood the darkness that was hovering over the people for many, many years prior to the message of the Quran that was bestowed upon him. Because it was such a level of darkness and a light given to people who never received any light prior to it. So the Prophet ﷺ was uniquely qualified to do this and invite people to this way. And he did not only invite them to this way with his mouth, he very seldom used his mouth. The Prophet was able to call people to this way by his mannerism, by his example, and by the way in which he conducted himself, and by the way in which he engaged in people, and by the way in which he appealed to the human sentiment of those who he came in contact with. And so it is very, very instrumental for us to understand that in the contemporary times that we're living in, the challenging times that we're living in, that when we are called to invite people into this way, we have to be prepared to meet the people where they are at. In many cases, most of the people that we serve in our community are challenged by some form of mental disturbance, some form of depression, some forms of anxiety. You have people that are suffering from psychotic issues, schizophrenia. You have some people that are suffering from drunkenness, widespread drunkenness, widespread substance abuse, widespread emotional disturbances, broken homes, broken families, trauma, people that have been traumatized, people that have been abused, sexually abused by family members, and abused, verbally abused and emotionally abused and scarred by their families, and they're left in this particular situation on their own. And so when we calling people to our way, we have to be aware of the darkness in the people's experience. What are some of the experiences of the people? Why are you so bitter? Why are you so rigid? Why are you so defensive? We have to understand that. And in the process of understanding that, we are going to have to still be kind. We have to still be trustworthy. We got to still be welcoming. We got to still be peaceful and humble in our mannerism and dealing with people, so that we can appeal to their human sentiment. So I don't want to go on and on and on. I want to get into the guts of this conversation so we can begin to, spread this message.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Akbar. Maybe can you just perhaps you could just talk a little bit about how Humble Beginnings started and what was the inspiration behind it?
Well, Humble Beginnings was born out of my personal experience. And I became a social worker by default. At the time that I designed this product, this model, Humble Beginnings, I was going through a really serious time. I had got fired from my job. And I got fired from my job because of some collateral consequences that I had to face for being a convicted drug felon in the state of New Jersey. After having changed my life around completely, became clean, substance-free, have not been involved with the life in so many decades, changed my whole entire life around, and have been forced to incur some collateral consequences in the state of New Jersey that created laws and policies on the books that said that if you've been convicted of selling drugs within 1,000 feet of a school, you can't have a license in this area, you can't have an endorsement in that area. And this was during around the time where they had told you that you're no longer obligated to answer the question on the application as to whether you were a felon or not. And I thought that was something that was championed until I had to face an interview where I had to discuss with the employer why my hazardous materials endorsement, school bus endorsement, and passengers endorsement were suspended on my commercial driver's license. I thought that my calling was for me to be a truck driver. Went and got my commercial driver's license by way of vocational rehabilitation, all in the efforts of trying to rebuild my life and repair my life. State of New Jersey told me I can't work and drive. But they never suspended my commercial driver's license. They just suspended my endorsements, which qualifies me to take on certain roles with certain companies. They're hiring me to transport hazardous materials, so I must have a hazardous materials endorsement. But if my hazardous materials endorsements is suspended, but not my commercial driver's license, me having to answer yes on the application of whether I was a felon or not means nothing when I have to answer it in the interview. It was a contradiction. It was a contradiction, and so I had to become an advocate for myself. Because in the community that I'm from Patterson, New Jersey, born and raised in the housing projects, learned Islam at a very early age, well influenced by the Islamic principles at a very early age, and that was never the issue of whether I could understand Islam, or whether I had Islam, or whether I was exposed to Islam. That's never the issue. And in our day and time now, whether people are aware of Islam is really not the issue. What the real issue is in our Islamic understanding is whether or not people are witnessing the practical aspect of Islam being distributed to them. We're talking about the practical Islam, the welcoming culture that the Islamic culture speaks to, calls us to. How welcoming and how leveling are we in our ability to understand what people are going through in our efforts to calling them to this way that we know to be straight. You get my point?
Yes, definitely. And I guess what was the community's reaction? You talked towards the end. You talked about like just the community that you're serving. What has the community's reaction been to Humble Beginnings, and how has the community benefited from the services? Because you talked about growing up in the projects and serving the underprivileged in the community. What has the reaction been thus far?
Let me tell you this. I drive a white van, an outreach van, and when I drive up on the scene at the area where we serve at, the people are waiting. The people are waiting with their families and their children for whatever their reasons are. What I've learned, and my outreach manager, Tommy, is here with me as well. What I've learned is that by way of our commitment and service and consistency with the people, we became a reliable source of relief to some of the community's most challenged individuals. And I'm talking about individuals cutting across all racial, ethnic, and religious lines. So we became reliable. That's an Islamic virtue, being reliable and trustworthy. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's right.
And can you talk a little bit more about the demographics as far as the community members that you're serving in terms of just the overall demographics, and what's the mix of Muslim versus non-Muslim community members that are seeking these services?
What I will say is this: in our assessment, we've done a needs assessment over the years, and 40% of, a little over 40% of the people that we serve are African American. A large portion of our people are African American, and then we also have a large population of Hispanics, and a large population at one time of displaced Caucasians that were displaced in our community, and because of their displacement, for whatever their reasons were, we didn't judge, they were in our community. And in our efforts to bring some level of calm to the community, we had to serve them too. It was a whole lot of people in a transient neighborhood, interstate bus lines up and down the street. You got liquor stores on every corner, action here, action there, so many people. And we're there constantly serving the greater good. And why they're there, I don't know. I don't know why you're here. You wasn't here last week. Oh, mate, well, brother, listen, man. I paid my rent, and and I don't got no money. So that's why I'm here at this time of the weekend, and I'm here with my kids. And so, no judge. Make sure we get a bag of food for him, and serve them, and so they can go on their way. So it was a whole bunch of all kinds of people. We have documentary footage that will show you all these different people in motion. Muslims, non-Muslims, whites, blacks, Hispanics, you name it.
And as far as the non-Muslims, so whether they were African American, Caucasian, Hispanic, when they learned that a Muslim has established this great organization, how was that? Did they start asking you questions about why you're doing it? Did they start asking questions about Islam? And I guess how easy was it for you to make da'wah to these individuals? I think you talked about a lot more about not just saying that you're Muslim, you're actually doing its mannerism, it's actually taking action and providing community. But was it easy for you to make da'wah to the non-Muslims that you see on a daily basis or every time you have these services?
Well, what I would say is this. A lot of the people in the community knew us anyway and know that we are Muslim. But for those who didn't know us, they often associated this service with us being a church. They often ask, well, y'all some kind of a church? No, we're not a church. We have to make that, I had to make that clear fast. No, we're not a church. It's not a church. Please don't put that twisted. We're not here to, pray over you or anything like that. We're here to address the immediate concern. And if there's some other issues that was going on, feel free to let us know. And that was during the time that we did our needs assessment. And when we would conduct our needs assessment was where we asked a series of questions of whether they had mental health issues, whether they had identification, whether they was homeless, whether they was displaced, whether they had an income, whether they was unemployed, whatever the issues were. Because the question would often be like, well, what could you help me with? What could you get me in a program? And we continued to foster relationships with those different agencies that provided those services and began to link people to those services directly. So that was some of the things that we was able to do. And our efforts of doing that, we also were able to formulate a quarterly drug and behavioral health awareness day in the community where we invited all of those different agencies into the community so we can have tables and booths set up for people to come and get tested for HIV. And when COVID came along, we had people get tested with COVID. Anybody who need medication-assisted therapy for their substance use or their mental health referrals, we had those agencies right there under one umbrella serving the greater good of the neighborhood.
And when you were serving with the community members, did they start asking you questions about your faith, about Islam, and why you're doing it?
Well, they often found it interesting to know why are we, because they don't see that. It's like, what do you want from me? That attitude. Like what are you guys are up to? Are you here to try to convert us? Oh no, we're not here to convert you. We Muslim. We Muslim. We have Muslim and non-Muslim. Let's be clear on that. We have Muslim and non-Muslim, and we have some non-Muslim volunteers that work hard as Muslims, just as upright and trustworthy and reliable as Muslims supposed to be. So let's be clear on that. We're gonna be clear on that, and this is a fact, but it was never really about the religion. But yes, they did associate this work with Christianity, because in our times that we're living in, the people of the book are foremost in doing these services: soup kitchens, homeless shelters. So it's kind of surprising to see a group of Muslims coming out doing something. it appears that the Muslims make the greatest demand on the people in terms of calling them to our faith, because we think that just by calling them, they're supposed to come, without making an investment in their dignity and making an investment in their humanity, making an investment into their trust, to foster a greater form of trust so that they can open up to us even more. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely. So I think you hit a little bit about COVID and the additional services that you were providing COVID in terms of testing. Can you just talk a little bit about just how did you adjust your operations at Humble Beginnings with COVID? Based on what happened with COVID, as you know, the economy went. There was a downturn in the economy. There was an increase in the homeless rates. A lot more people were struggling, and at the same time, it was difficult to provide these services because you really couldn't interact at the same level with everyone. So, can you just talk a little bit about your experience during how you guys ran the operations during COVID?
Wow. No problem. Because that was a very, very challenging time. Ahmed to tell you. There was a time where the ICPC kitchen, we operate purely out of the ICPC Patterson kitchen. I want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our brother, Imam Muhammad Katanani, brothers like Omar Wad when he was here. And I want to thank the whole ICPC family for providing Humble Beginnings with some of the wheels to get this engine rolling. And at that time, there was a time where the kitchen shut down. Ooh, boy, that was tough. Because the ICPC kitchen was a very reliable, source. It was a strength. But it had to shut down to be modeled. And then we had to find volunteers. Sister so-and-so, could you prepare 5 pans of rice for us? And then we had to deliver rice to this person. We had to deliver chicken to this person. And then I had to go over to Teaneck, deliver rice to that person, potatoes to this person. I was all over the place. But never one Sunday, whether it was raining, sleet, snowing, during the COVID months, that we failed the people. Not one time.
MashaAllah.
And while medical centers, doctors' offices, other soup kitchens within the community that would serve from Mondays and Fridays, they were shut down. Our community outreach and focus, which functions on Sundays, was forced to open up throughout the week because we began to foster a partnership with PAC, our brothers from PAC, the Palestinian American Culture Center. And they were providing hot and wholesome meals to us by the hundreds throughout the week. Monday, Diab called me, Brother Akbar, I got some food for you. What's going on? Come, go pick up 1,000 bags of food from Diab. And then Wednesday, he called me again. I said, I got more food, brother, come see me. And it was in demand. It was in demand, and we found every so often, I'm coming from work with my suit and tie on. I got to go stop and see Diab, and then on my way back home, I got to pull out my table and give away 300 meals in the neighborhood on a Wednesday. I'm tired. I went home. I had to do it. This is during the COVID months. And then we had to bring those food boxes to the community by the tractor trailer. I had to carve out time to make sure that this operation was accessible to the people and their families during the COVID months. And I took it on the chin very, very well.
Jazakallah khair. May Allah reward you. I know it definitely must have been tough just trying to be in 10 places at the same time. And I mean, even after COVID, you just notice whether you're driving around, right, and this could be whether it's in Patterson, it could be in Clifton. I mean, even in the South Patterson area, you do see people that are, unfortunately, they're sleeping on the streets, right? Whether they're sleeping on a bench, they're sleeping in the park. I mean, I've even seen, sometimes I go in the Hoboken area, and then you just see a lot more people that are fortunately just sleeping in the parks. So if we see, in our community, if we see whether it's a Muslim or a non-Muslim, what can we do? How can we offer, how can we make these individuals aware of organizations such as Humble Beginnings and other organizations that are providing these services to the people that are underprivileged?
There's only one way you could do, one thing you could do. To be honest, you got to help invest in those institutions. You got to help invest in those institutions, establishment of those institutions that are going to make these services, very much needed human services, available and accessible to the common people. We have to be spearheading the establishment of institutions in these different communities, these very challenges, neighborhoods and communities where these different challenges are right there at the doorstep of the people. We have to be willing to invest and lend our expertise in whatever area of expertise we have, whether we're medical professionals, whether we're architects, whether we're engineers, designers, whatever the case may be, medical, whatever. Invest in those institutions. Let's establish these institutions and make them available and open to people. Because like I said before, people are not concerned about what your religion is, man. They're not. They're concerned about how practical you are in your faith. Can I trust you? I hear your mouth, but can I trust you? I hear your mouth, but do you understand my situation? Are you well aware of my situation and my resistance? People are resistant to religion now because it has been, in many cases, it has failed people. It has failed to live up to its practical application. It hasn't delivered what it needed to deliver to the people. In many cases, you understand? And that's just how it is. People are very, very harsh on religion. Some of our children, I mean, I don't know if there's some, I get people calling me and talking to me about their children. Brother Akbar, I need you to talk to so-and-so because he's I don't know what he's doing, but he's not himself. And I think he's on drugs. And he's not praying. And he's not doing this, and she's not doing that. I need you to talk to her. Right here in the masjid. You hear me, brother?
Yeah.
So the Islam, though, is deeper than that. It's bigger than that. We up against some real serious challenges today.
Absolutely. So how can our community get more involved? Like it seems like it's not just, I mean, how can we get involved to support organizations such as Humble Beginnings? And then also, you talked a little bit about, right now, you're getting questions from parents where their children seem to be going on the wrong path, whether it's dealing with drugs or alcohol or other, other kind of, we also have other crises as well. So how can our community get more involved? What can we do to get more involved, to support the community and also support our local family as well?
Well, what we have, can you hand me that document, Brother Tommy? We have, right now to this very day, we are proposing, let me just be, clear that we just received approval from the City of Patterson and the City of Council to purchase an abandoned building in the City of Patterson that was once a library, and is our goal to turn it into the Humble Beginnings Community and Family Resource Center right here in the City of Patterson. And with an array of services, we intend to serve the greater good of the community around job development, mental health, community education, continuing education, health services, a wide array of services. Our mission is transforming communities through an array of human services, helping people to achieve their full potential as individuals, parents, and community members at large. And we intend to address these community ills from the perspective of a family, because we know if we strengthen families, we strengthen neighborhoods. And if we strengthen neighborhoods, we can transform the whole entire community. And so this project is underway right now as we speak. And it was some good, generous people that lended their expertise and their helping hand to helping us get this far. And so we're moving on this project as soon as possible to take this building and turn it into a functional institution for community empowerment.
MashaAllah, that's great. That's great to hear. I think you guys this recently just happened?
This recently just happened.
MashaAllah, that's great. That's really great.
Recently just happened, but it was a whole lot of years, time, and energy invested in this.
MashaAllah.
I was in a big fight trying to get these people to convince these people to give us the green light to make this happen. So it's just a matter of putting our best foot forward and galvanizing the support of people who are concerned about these issues.
So what is your vision? I mean, I think these are great next steps for this organization. What is your vision for Humble Beginnings? Where do you see it going in the next 5 years?
I want to take this whole entire concept across the world.
MashaAllah.
I want to be an example to everybody throughout the world. I want to take this concept and take it to every major urban community in the United States of America and show this and begin to demonstrate to these various communities what it would take to invest in the worst part of your community and extract the best out of it. And a community investment like this is tantamount. A community investment of this magnitude is tantamount to transforming the lives of people.
Jazakallah khair. And by the way, if anybody has any questions about Humble Beginnings or any of the topics that we discussed, please feel free to text your questions to the number here, and we can also leave some time if anybody wants to ask any live questions as well. I guess we could just talk a little bit about, so alhamdulillah, Brother Akbar, Jazakallah khair for all your efforts. Is during all your years in providing these services, is there an experience or some event that happened over the years that's really impacted you that you'd like to share with us?
Wow.
I know you have several, but is there anyone that comes to mind?
It's so many things that has impacted me and fuels my drive. But I will say this. The worst part of my service, right, to be honest with you, is at the end. When we are down to our last 5 trays of food and there's 10, 15, 20 other people walking up in this challenging situation. And you're like, oh my God, there's no more food. That is the most challenging part of the whole entire service, because on many days I found myself giving my tray away to other people and sacrifice a meal for myself that I stood over a stove and helped cook. I find myself giving it away to some others, and then there's another 12 people that won't be served because of the lack of, services. That's the challenging part.
Yeah. Yes.
That's when I really knew I'm really, really serious about the work I do.
Got it. So we have a few questions that came in. Maybe if you could just help answer those questions. So the first one was just about the new community center that's going to be up and running soon, inshallah. Can you just mention again the different services that will be provided to the community? Just someone was asking about the different services that will be provided.
One of the issues in the neighborhood is community violence. We're talking about a crime-ridden neighborhood, a neighborhood where there is like maybe 52, 53% of the workforce is women, which really is no coincidence that crime and violence in the community is a male-dominated phenomenon. So our main approach would be vocational rehabilitation, particularly to young African American, Hispanic males who lack job skills, who lack 21st century job skills, that would pull them from out of the streets and into a gainful employment. So that's one area of concern, and we foster the partnership with workforce development and some other vocational rehabilitation programs to implement that part. That's one main part. And in the meantime, in addressing that vocational rehabilitation part, we want to also address the behavioral health issues. Behavioral health issues as it relates to people's substance use, as it relates to people's mental health, as it relates to people's lack of nutrients, healthy food supply, various things of that nature. We want to also address the food desertion. And one of the things that we did in that neighborhood already is that we took an old abandoned lot that was once a dumping ground for garbage, took it over from the church and invested in it and built a well-functioning community garden right there on 69 North 1st Street. So that's one area of concern. And an address also talking about year-round recreation in a neighborhood that has maybe 4 or 5 different institutions with a basketball court that are not open to the community. So we want to pull in some Muslim people, some brothers and sisters to join us in our Northside Action Network to establish year-round recreation in a neighborhood that don't have these institutions open for the community, and addressing also family issues, because of many of the problems that our community members face is derivative of their family issues, their family problems. So we want to put together a component for family counseling, mediating between families, combating the family members that are combating against each other for whatever their reasons are, and do the best we can to probably mend some of those different truncated relationships. So there's a whole lot of things that's going on, and I intend to leave this with the community, and if whoever feel free to want to read it, feel free to do so. So I'm gonna leave that with the community, so whoever needs to get a glimpse of it, then you can just take it from there. And our website is also in here, so if you ever want to make a contribution to our cause, you can go onto our website, see all the things that we've done. We also want to invite some interns to the table that got expertise in social media, got expertise in web design, got expertise in whatever expertise that you may have that may fit into this particular project. Feel free to reach out to us, because we want to build, we want to replicate what they're doing in Chicago. I don't know if you know about the organization in Chicago. I had the privilege of meeting a gentleman by the name of Rami Nashashibi. He's a Palestinian American brother whose family migrated here from Palestine and moved into the city of Chicago. And in moving into the city of Chicago, they joined the community of the world community of El Islam under the leadership of Imam Warathuddin Muhammad, who is the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was the founder of the Nation of Islam. Imam Warathuddin Muhammad took the Nation of Islam and brought the Nation of Islam into the broader scheme of the proper understanding of Islam under the Sunnah of Muhammad and the Quran. And so Rami Nashashibi's family migrated to Chicago and became a part of the Imam Warathuddin Muhammad community, and this is where he became more sensitive to issues that are impacting urban communities, particularly those communities that are permeated by African Americans. And he created an organization that is known as Inner City Muslim Action Network, doing practically the same thing that we're proposing to do. Same services, particularly around providing post-release services for brothers and sisters that are transitioning back to the community from the correctional facilities, whatever the situation may be. And so we want to do the same thing. And in the Green Reentry Program, training people how to do gardening and horticulture and growing their own food and giving them 21st century job skills, and so they can target the acquisition of abandoned properties in their community and train them how to fix these houses up for their own use so they can own them and acquire them and build for their families coming back home from prison. And in the neighborhood that we're talking about, there's a whole lot of abandonment, the need for revitalization. And this is a perfect project. Humble Beginnings will be a community development corporation that this community has been longing for. And with the injection of Islamic principles and values and support from the various communities, we can turn this into, this can be the beacon of light in the most darkest place. And I believe that that can happen. I have a drive that is beyond my scope, and I truly believe that it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has guided me to this point, because there was some times that I didn't think we were going to pull this off, and we got this far. And I just want to invite you to that which this is, I'm giving you dawah. I'm giving you dawah tonight. We ain't got to go out there and give nobody some dawah. I'm giving you some dawah. I'm inviting you to get involved with something that's going to change the world, transform the world. And the little help that you give me, it'll be on your scale in their judgment. I mean.
So can you talk a little bit about how people, some people are asking, how can they get involved in volunteering with Humble Beginnings?
Right now, we're working on getting a permit, acquisition, access agreement with the city of Patterson, so that we can go into this property and trim them trees, the weeds, cut the grass, take that garbage out, dump it, bag it up, get rid of it, so that we can send our crew in there to help remediate the asbestos that we've identified in the building. So that's, we're working on that, and we have a meeting on Tuesday to get the ball rolling with those various partnerships. And so we're going to need some ground men, some ground women too, who want to roll up their sleeves, put on some gloves, some boots, and get busy. You know, and it'll just be that simple. We could probably put a little cookout together, or a barbecue or some sort at the end, and just celebrate that. I'm looking forward to doing that within the next couple weeks, and so I'll definitely be in touch with Brother Ahmed, and you too as well.
Definitely. Do you have a social media sites where you post the different services that are being provided? Like, I believe you guys provide the weekly hot meal. Right. So if someone wants to go and volunteer, how can they get in touch with you? How can they know where to go? And
I'm gonna tell you what you could do. You could just show up at the ICPC kitchen, Patterson, between 11 and 2 o'clock. You can just show up at the kitchen. I want to help. Come on. That's how I go. Can I help you, brother? Sure. Come on. What you want to do? They come in. They come in the kitchen and help. We got a lot of work done just on that alone. It'd be 2 of us in the kitchen. Man, we got to pull this off. We got to cook all this chicken. We got to cook all this rice. We got to chop up all these onions. And next thing you know, some brother come along, and some sister come along and be like, can I help? Sure, come on in. Roll your sleeves up, put some gloves on, help yourself. You know, and that's just how it's been doing. We've been doing this for years at ICPC Kitchen. This is not a secret. I don't know who don't know about this. This is not a secret. This is something that has actively been going on in ICPC Kitchen.
On Sundays?
On Sundays.
So Sundays, 11 a.m. So everybody knows the address for ICPC Patterson. So if you are interested to volunteer, this is your chance, inshallah.
You want to donate some water, drop it off. This is for Brother X. And Brother Mahmoud and them is going to put their sign in, put it to the side for Brother X. It's going to be for me. Whatever you need to feel you need that we need. You know, we like to make everything wholesome, hot, and halal. Very nutritious. We try not to, we don't do nothing unless it's halal. We make sure that we have a hot soup, a nice entree, a salad. We want for our brothers and sisters what we want for ourselves. And our motto is if we don't eat it, we don't feed it. That's our motto. And we put that out there with no problem. If we don't eat it, we don't feed it. We don't give nobody something we wouldn't eat ourselves.
So, since you're mentioning the actual food options, we did get a question about the fact that just in areas that are underprivileged, such as Patterson, there's really a scarcity of healthy food, and there's, I would say, a large supply of unhealthy food and also alcohol and drugs. So I'm just reading the question here. So how can we, as ordinary citizens, try to rid the city of this excess supply of unhealthy food, drugs, and alcohol, and provide more healthy food options?
I think we can build more community gardens. I think we can build more community gardens. We are in the process of building another community garden, expanding the one that we have as well. But I think building a community garden, more community gardens, and I think we should begin to institutionalize these community gardens and begin to start fostering partnerships and relationships with the local corner stores and to encourage them to invest in this green reentry thing, and so that we can make healthy food supply accessible to the people. And I think we should also be prepared to do farmers markets in the community and make food accessible. So I grew up in a time where the produce man used to come through the neighborhood in his truck, deliver collard greens and fresh peaches and plums right to your doorstep. And that was early 70s, but it's not like that now because we don't even got the taste buds for healthy produce. It's just about reintroducing that to the people. You got to make it accessible.
Jazakallah khair. Some people are also asking if they would like to donate, make donations. Is there? They're just asking where they can donate. Is there a website or some kind of a QR code or anything?
Yes, you can go to our website, and there's a donation link on our website, www.humblebeginningscommunityo.com. Humble Beginnings Inc. CommunityO.com. www.humblebeginningsinc. Community, that's another C, CommunityO.com. That's our website. And you're going to go up there, you're going to see the various things that we've done over the years, and you can hit the donation link as often as you like.
Jazakallah khair. I think we have one last question. They just wanted to know, just want to get an idea of how many people. I don't know if you have any stats on this. I don't want to put you on the spot, but how many people do you think you've helped over the years in terms of just providing jobs, education, and other support?
It's a lot of people, a lot of referrals that we've put out there, and it's countless. But I do know that we've serviced over 125,000 hot and wholesome meals in this community in the 7.5 years that we've been doing this, much of which was produced, a large portion of which was produced in the ICPC kitchen.
MashaAllah, that's a pretty large number. May Allah reward you.
We give away at least 300-400 meals every week, easy.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. All right, well, with that, I think Jazakallah khair, Brother Akbar, for everything that you've done. May Allah reward you, and may Allah accept from you all your good deeds, inshallah. And inshallah, we see more and more, we hear more and more and see more of the services that you're offering, and inshallah, Allah allows you to achieve the vision that you have for this great organization. Jazakumullah khair, everyone, for coming. Actually, wait, sorry, there's one more. Someone has a question? Go ahead.
We have referrals for that. We have referrals for that. Right. Right. Very much so.
The next step for therapy wise, is there, well, maybe I'm asking this a little bit in advance, but is the vision almost to kind of find a formula that allows, like, using Islamic foundations for therapeutic methods?
We would. This Islam. Very hard to find, but
Can you just repeat the question?
we're open to fostering those relationships with those kind of foundations that are specifically established around providing funding for these type of services. Is that what you're trying to say?
More in the sense of like, with like these therapeutic modalities like CBT and
Right.
we're not finding that the roots of it are not really all Islamic.
Right.
So usually we're trying to like find a middle ground of how do you provide therapy, but
Right.
provide it in an Islamic sense.
Right.
And so that was kind of my question, like, do you kind of have that formula established whenever you're interacting or
Right. Yes. Me personally, one of the many strategies that I use in orientations that I operate from when I'm dealing with my substance abuse clients is that I deal with motivational interviewing. I utilize a series of open-ending questions to extract information, be able to clarify what they're saying, summarize what they're saying, and provide reflective listening skills in terms of reiterating to them, paraphrasing to them what they just said. May have been dysfunctional, but I'll paraphrase it just to be able to leverage a relationship, foster a healthier relationship. And in addition to that, I also like to use CBT to be able to explore their thinking, why they think like that, and because of your thinking translates into a particular behavior. So those models are definitely humanistic, from being able to understand human behavior. So yes, I employ some of these things, these strategies, and to some degree. But you're right. Some of the founders of these different orientations may have been in one way or another anti-atheists, may not have any kind of religious value system, because most of these guys have come from Western European countries, and so they're operating purely from a Eurocentric perspective, But some of those orientations are useful, and for me, I utilize them for what they're worth, But I do know one thing, that if we appeal to the human sentiment, we can help change people. Because a cat when you can sense that you mean them good. The most ferocious dog, bark all day, might attack you. He even know when to take it down when somebody's trying to show him some love. That's the nature of things. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. You can show up on Sundays and say, yo, brother, I heard you said you can show up on Sunday. But we do also, you can also go on the website and send us an email and say, I would like to volunteer me and 2 other people on the Saturday or Sunday of November, whatever date it is, and then we'll schedule it. All right, my pleasure.
We have a couple questions on the brother side.
Well, Tuesday, we're going to be meeting with some partners. And we're going to be discussing the partnership as well as putting together the access contract so that we can go and do the cleanup at this particular location. If we can get clarification from them to go ahead on and get this access agreement going, we're looking to do this on the 29th, Saturday, October 29th. We want to get this done as soon as possible.
We have one question there. Yes.
Legs down.
Alaikum assalam.
Very informative. So, I have two issues. The one is to do with the partnerships you have. Do you have written partnerships, memorandum of understanding, for example?
Yes, we're going to be doing that on Tuesday. We're going to be establishing memorandum of understanding.
I'm talking about the past, not what is coming. But do you have any?
Yes, we do. We do have some partnerships. Yes.
And how old has this organization been?
We were founded in 2011, and our outreach has been effective for the last 7.5, 8 years.
The main issue for any not-for-profit organization is the finance.
Right.
So do you have any policy for revenue building, for fundraising? Have you approached the federal government for that? Because they have millions
Right.
for
Yeah,
organizations.
right. Yes, we do have a DUNS number, and we did apply for an application to be able to tap into some of that federal money, that HRSA money, that federal dollars to provide these various services. One of the things that interfered with our ability to secure any of those fundings is that we didn't have a location. We didn't have a location to operate from, and so that was the key part of us not being able to grow into the full capacity that we have the ability to do. But this project right here is a game changer, because not only does it provide us with the space to do it, we'll own it. And the fact that we own it, we become the community development corporation that sets the precedence for everything else that needs to be done in this community. So this right here, I mean, not being able to do what you suggested that we should have been able to do over these different years is going to force the federal government to do business with us from the start when we own it. You get what I'm saying?
I am ready to volunteer and help you. I have about 50 years of experience in community development, community participation, and other issues related to development.
Wonderful.
So anytime I am ready, I give the brother my card, and one copy of my card, I requested him to give it to you.
Right. I need a third one, because I'm going to need another one for my project manager, Mr. Fuad. All right.
I have visited 55 countries, so I am sure I could at least, very humbly, contribute something to your good organization, inshallah.
Wonderful. I appreciate you, sir.
All right, well, jazakumullah khair, everyone, for coming out tonight, inshallah. Everyone has found this event to be beneficial. As we discussed, the Friday Forum is an event that we try to discuss current topics, pressing topics, and we thought this was an important topic to discuss in our community. So inshallah, everybody has found this, all this information to be beneficial and informative, and we hopefully, inshallah, Brother Akbar has a few more volunteers to help out, to help him achieve his vision, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. This is for you, brother. That was beautiful. I love it. What, was it good, Ahmed?